70 years ago. Even now, I'm constantly inspired by the work and bravery of our servicemen and women. It's for the ones who are fighting now that we must always make sure that the ones who fought in the past are not forgotten. Well, now I'm going to sit back and make myself comfortable and let Virginia, my daughter, take over. So, Virginia, it's over to you.
The funny thing is, I don't remember singing as a tiny child. It's only from my press cuttings that I know that apparently I could sing 5 songs right through by the time I was 2. But I believe that a person's life only really begins with what they can remember for themselves. So my story has to start, strangely enough, with the time I nearly died. I was not quite 3 years old. I have a recollection of being all on my own in some kind of a tent, surrounded by steaming kettles. I can't shake off the impression that the tent was out of doors. Wherever it was certainly in East Ham Hospital, and I was in isolation there with a dangerous illness called diphtheric croup. I was in hospital for 3 months altogether, and came out in time for my 3rd birthday in 1920. By that time I'd missed Christmas. So I had my Christmas and birthday all in one in March. Mum even got me a Christmas tree from somewhere. I was Vera Welch then, and we lived in Thackeray Road, East Ham. That ground floor flat in Thackeray Road is my other earliest memory. I can see the little kitchen and the wash house now. When I was 4, we moved to another of those straight, flat, East Ham streets, Ladysmith Avenue, to share a house with my grandmother. And there we would stay until 1938 when, at the age of 21, I'd made enough progress as a singer to be able to buy a house for my mum and dad and myself not far away in Barking. In many ways we were a typical working-class family. Just me, my brother Roger, who was 3 years older than me, my parents and my grandma, of course. From the photographs you'd think that we were well off, because everyone always dressed in their Sunday best if they were having their photograph taken. My mother Annie was a dressmaker. She made all her own clothes, and she worked for a London dressmaker who took on royal commissions. She was the one who taught me how to sew and make things properly. My father, Bertram, worked as a plumber, and he'd been on the docks. In those days you took any job you could get. Despite this, my father was an easygoing man who liked to laugh, and he was a very good dancer. That's what was unusual about my childhood. There was Uncle George, my dad's brother, who had taught me songs and would even wake me up to sing them for him. He used to appear in the working men's clubs doing a George Robey impression. He had an act with his sister as well, and they wrote some of their own songs. Dad himself was very active in the East Ham Working Men's Club and was master of ceremonies at the dances there on a Saturday night. I used to see him in his white gloves, patent pumps, calling out the names of the dances and feel so proud of him. During the long period of the club-going days, almost the first 2 decades of my life, he worked not only in the docks, but also as a plumber's mate, as a glassblower, at the co-op, and, during the Depression, sometimes not at all. But whatever he was doing, it was his club activities he really lived for. His darts, his billiards, and above all, his dancing. In fact, the whole family was very socially minded, and I was taken to the club as a matter of course from my very earliest childhood. I got accustomed very early to the idea of helping to provide entertainment. We were a great family for singing. There were good voices on both sides, and no reluctance to use them. Grandma had a lovely voice, untrained, but much more of a concert performer's voice than the rest of us. Dad had a good voice, and his party piece was "Laugh and the world will be smiling, weep and you're weeping alone." There always seemed to be sing-song parties going on with my aunt at the piano, and everybody doing something. Besides the entertainment that the immediate family and the club could offer, there was that of the professional variety theatre. The old lady opposite had a girl companion who would sometimes take me to the East Ham Palace, where it was 3d to go up in the gods. They had all sorts of different acts on there: comics, singers, dancers, acrobats, magicians. They weren't necessarily famous, but they were professionals, all working the circuit. I saw Florrie Ford there when I was about 10 years old. I remember her on stage, all dressed up and singing songs. She would probably have had top billing, as she was a very popular Australian entertainer, best known for singing "It's a Long Way to Tipperary" and "Pack Up Your Troubles in Your Old Kit Bag." She had entertained